Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, the channel where we go through the good and bad of everything nerdy to make sure you spend your time on the best of the best. And today's video will be doing a review and covering the basics of how to play the Dino Dodge board game, so let's get into it. So first thing, let's jump into how you play the game so you have a better understanding of the basics, and then we'll jump into my review after that. Alright, so Dino Dodge is a game where players take on the roles of various dinosaurs trying to avoid falling meteors as well as dangerous lava pits to be the last dinosaur standing. And so the game setup is actually very simple. You'll just start off by placing the 8 land tiles in a circle in the middle of the table. After that, you're going to take the Move You cards, shuffle them up, and then deal each player 1 to start their hand. Players will also choose a dinosaur of their choice to play as and place them anywhere on the board. So let's say we do a blue and a yellow in this case. Players will then take their respective dinosaur card associated with their colored dinosaur. You can then set the rest of the dinosaurs off to the side as they won't be used for the rest of the game. But again, we'll take the 1 Move You card each, distribute that to each player. Then we'll take the rest of the move cards and shuffle them up, and then each player will get 4 more for a total of 5 cards each to start their hand. You'll also take the meteor cards, shuffle them up, and then flip up 1 meteor and place it anywhere on the outside of the board with the highest number showing above the land tile. You can set the rest of the meteors off to the side to form a draw pile, and you'll give the starting token to the oldest player to start the game. Now, playing the game is also pretty simple. Each round consists of 3 phases: the active player phase, the sky is falling phase, and then the boom phase. And so during the active player phase, the first step is to add a meteor. So the current player will pick up a meteor from the draw pile, place it anywhere on the board, again with the highest number facing towards the land tile. The next step is draw check, where you simply check to see if you have no action cards in your hand, and if you have none, you can draw 5. The third step is that you play actions. And so when it comes to your turn, you have to play at least 1 action, but you may play more if you choose. So again, let's say I do a Move You for the yellow dinosaur, so I'll just discard that, and I can move it in any direction around the circle. Let's say I go here. At this point, let's say I don't want to do anything else, then you'll move on to the end phase, where I can draw 1 action card if my hand was empty. And then I need to flip over the player token to the sky is falling side. And this moves you into the sky is falling phase. So at this point, this is also broken down into multiple steps. So the first one is to rotate the meteor phase. So again, these just simply rotate 1 number lower. You do a draw check. At this point, any players that are under a meteor may draw 1 action card if they choose. They don't have to draw, but they can if they want. And again, your hand size can only go up to 5 cards. You then do a boom check. So if any active meteors are on the boom axis, so again, you can see it shows boom there. If there aren't any, you flip the player token back to the skeleton side and pass the turn. But if there are any meteors on the boom side, you move into the boom phase. So at this point, players under a booming meteor must take turns to get out from under the booming meteor. So for example, if blue was under it, they would need to move. And it starts in player order, starting with the player that has the current player token, and then we'll simply go around the board. And so to survive, you have to get your dinosaur out from under the booming meteor to any other one of the land tiles. And so in order to do that, you need to perform 1 single action through any valid use of your cards. There's also a more advanced version of this situation called a deadly impact, and that's if the tile is on the lava side and the meteor is moving. And the only way to escape this is by playing a pair of matching action cards to either perform a land effect, which we'll get to in a bit, or you can use your dino ability. So what this means is some cards match, right? You've got 2 blue Move You cards here. So I could use 2 of these at the same time to activate my dino power. And so each dinosaur has their unique power on the card. So in this case with the blue dinosaur, they would move 2 spaces and then all enemies within one space would move one space in the same direction. And when you complete this, you may also draw a card. Now the other option is to use the land tiles here. So as you can see in the top left, those symbols match. So if you had two cards that matched like this, you could activate a land tile. And so in this case, this means moving the meteor. So you could actually move the meteor to a different spot so you're out of harm's way. This symbol here is rotating a meteor. So you could rotate it one space back so it wouldn't be booming on you anymore. This one is swap meteors. So if you had two meteors, you could swap them. So you might not be in danger at that point. Or there's also this orange symbol here, which is swapping land tiles. And so if you had two of those types, you could actually swap the land tiles, again, getting yourself out of danger. At this point, you may end up under another meteor and you just repeat the process. If not, any dinosaurs that are unable to escape are eliminated from the game. And then you would simply move on to the next player, giving them the first player token. And any meteors that had reached the boom phase would be discarded to the discard pile. A couple other things to note is that once the boom side is on a regular land tile, after that's been resolved, you'll flip the land tile over to the lava side. Now, during the active player's turn, you can't end your turn on the lava. Other players can be moved onto the lava during that turn and be safe, but if it's your turn, you cannot end on the lava or you'll be eliminated from the game. At this point, play will just simply continue until there's only one dinosaur left standing. One other thing that's going to happen as you play as well is that eventually all of the safe spots, except for one, will be removed from the game. And so as you can see in this situation, let's say at the start of the turn, someone put a meteor on this position. All the other places are lava, except for this land tile. So now at this point, there's only really one safe place left in the game. And so you'll put the safe token next to that spot. And so meteors can't be placed there. And this space can't be turned to lava either throughout the game, giving players basically one safe haven on the game board. There's also different card types, and these are pretty simple to understand as well. So there'll be things like move you, that's simply just moving your dinosaur. There's moving an enemy, you'll simply just move the enemy a space in either direction. And there's also cards that say bump. And so what this means is that if you moved your enemy in this case and bump, it would move here and then you would bump your character in the same direction to the next space. Same thing, if you did move you and bump, you would bump this dinosaur to the next space. So it's pretty simple to understand, but these are really the basic rules of how you play Dino Dodge. So now that you have a better understanding on how the game works, let's jump into my review from there. Well, now that you know a bit more on how the game actually works, how do I feel about it? Well, the game itself is pretty simple to play and it's not too difficult to learn. Some of the aspects like trading the land tiles can be a little bit confusing, but once you get the hang of it, it's really not that hard. And the game is meant for 2 to 5 players. And we played several games playing 2-player, but I do think the game really shines when you play with more players in the game. And the game is for kids to adults, but I think the younger crowd will probably get more enjoyment out of the game. But I also think it can get a bit strategic when you're down to the last 2 players fighting it out for survival. And so I think adults will probably get more enjoyment out of that aspect, as they might be a little bit better at stringing chains of cards together to survive a little bit longer and be the last dinosaur standing. I think the artwork in the game is pretty cool, as well as the 3D dinosaur models that you get. But the game itself, again, doesn't really have a lot of components to it. It's pretty simple and easy to set up. And I do like that the game doesn't take very long to play. Even if you are playing with a bunch of players, at some points it might be inevitable that several players get eliminated quite quickly. And so again, the games don't really last that long. I think the game fits the theme pretty well, right? Of the world kind of being destroyed and wiping out the dinosaurs via big meteors. And I do think you kind of get that feeling of scrambling at the last second to try and avoid the oncoming meteors. It almost has like a push your luck element to it as well, where typically you're only drawing cards if you're completely out of cards or you're really in harm's way and a meteor is about to land on you. Will you be drawing extra cards? And so as you play, you might choose to use all of your cards on a single turn in hopes of drawing a bunch on that next turn and being prepared for whatever happens, or you can try and use your cards sparingly to have more on hand without putting yourself necessarily at risk by using all of your cards. And so as you play, like I said, there's different strategies you can use, but you might need to play it a few times to really get the hang of things. But overall, it's a pretty fun game. And like I said, it's simple to learn and easy to play. And it could be a great game to play with your kids. But let me know in the comments below if you've played this game before, what you think about it. If you're gonna pick this up now that you've seen it, love to chat about it with you more in the comments below. And again, if you guys like this video, be sure to smash that like button as it really helps out the channel. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. And if you'd like to help us pick out content, support the channel, and more, become a patron of ours at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. And if you'd like to plug into our live streams and Let's Plays we do on the channel, you can follow us on Twitch at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.